Booyah. Um, just gonna read this first, and then I'm gonna go to the reading. I had to move places, so I was on a plane trip over here. So took some time, but it was fine always. But before I get into any of that, anything too serious, I'm just gonna read this manga. I saw the name. It's called Ankle Breaker, and I honestly, it sounds fun. Turn this heater off. There's no heater, so inside's cold. Now the audio should sound a slight bit better, but I can't guarantee anything. Take the bubble gum out. Okay. I'm not gonna read this off for you, okay? I'm just reading it for my own pleasure, okay? So I don't know. I call ankle breaker. He's running. I should save this afterwards so I can. It's like a little treat after reading. But after this, I know part of that book, it's gonna go into more complicated stuff. It's gonna go. It gets seriously complicated, to the point that I don't know if I can graph it. The current graph I have right now, I can show you. It's from the last time. The current graph, it's like this. I had some ideas. Maybe I could put all the all the figures over on one side, but I don't know how well that's gonna work. Considering that, um, I just considering it's gonna be a hard. I have to make new lines from up here to up there. Uh, Somehow this is gonna be, since this trails off, not on its own, because it's the first part of the book. But I decided that I rather go from. I know they started with decoding, and then they go into phenomenal, phonemic awareness. I'm mixing up uh fun. Oh my god, phenomenal. Oh, phenomenology was phonics because of that one article I read last stream. But this one's is phonics. So they said the book starts off with decoding, then it goes to phonics, but in the phonics section it gets extremely complicated, not in the content itself, but in how it's executed. So I was more so concerned that how I'm gonna do this properly without making it look overly too like textile, like too professionalish. Well, I wanted to look kind of professional because the better the notes are, the better I can present it if I feel proud. But either way, I like it when it looks a bit. I like this doesn't look complicated to me, but I don't like it when it's too boring like last time. So I don't know if I'm gonna face the same issues. I barely can see this line. I don't know if I'm gonna face the same issues, but certainly I don't know. I was thinking on the in the airport. I was thinking about putting all the figures in the book on one side over here and just list them down. So I'm gonna like put this down. This is what I was imagining. So like some type of graph here. I should put an invisible box maybe right here, in a way to uh make it look more simpler. So the invisible box should go there, and it'll be like a crab claw. Boom. Okay. Boom. It'll be like a crab claw, but I don't know. So all the figures, I don't know how much figures are in the book. This was the first figure, so this is gonna be its own column. Uh, I don't. Mm, there you go. So this is just gonna be called figures. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but so all the figures are gonna in there. My idea was that maybe I can create like I can graph it out right now before. So maybe let's say there's an information here, and it goes back to the information on the graph. Maybe figure 1.1. This is 1.1. I had to change up the name quite a bit because I kept on getting confused with some detail and because there were some leftovers in the paper, but um aside from that everything went well. But either way, what I'm trying to say is this doesn't look good. I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, nice. Okay, so what the idea is going to be is over here is going to be its own column. Over here is going to be a separate column. Of course, I, uh, I don't want it to look too. I want it to look more. It grabs your attention, but I don't want it to be overly. Well, I don't know. I'm still figuring out how I'm gonna do this properly. So this would line up properly. Nice. I just turn this invisible like I did the last one. Just a random color right there. Line goes there. But again, I don't know if it's gonna line up properly. I should probably remove some of these arrows because some of these arrows don't really make sense. Considering that if the well, I don't know. I should it's gonna be like a heart. I don't know. Gosh, I knew what idea I had, but I'm forgetting it because I don't. I'm getting some sort of headache. I don't know. So I think this is gonna look good. I just hope. So it's gonna be the same type of method. I think I can move everything a bit to the center over here because it should be okay. Space out. Want to make it like this? No, that doesn't make sense. Mm, okay, I'm trying to figure this out so it makes sense. All right, so figures are gonna be over here. But what I'm trying to do is, let's say this figure is talking about. Let's say, let me zoom in. It's saying this box says, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Is that even typing? I swear. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Figure 1.1, and this maybe it's an exact quote from the book. I'm not really trying to write down any specific information that goes outside the bounds of what the book is trying to do. Just trying to label what's inside of the textbook and formulate it in a graph like way that makes it more game like. It makes it more gamified, to be specific. So it's more interesting to look about in this program Obsidian. You can attach a lot of things. So my wanting is gonna be to attach maybe some pictures or maybe some videos that represent or really bring alive the imagination of anyone who's looking through these diagrams. That way it's easier to understand the material and it's easier for me to go back on the material because the book is not set out in this way. Usually, books are set out in a more column like form where text goes down. This is just common sense, but it's all right. Um, so in this case, anytime it has any links towards something, so this is gonna have a link of figure 1.1. I don't know if I'm gonna build an arrow that goes like this towards this object or towards the object of interest, sorry, or towards the figure, or I'm gonna take the figure and make it like the figure is going towards that. Like all the ideas from the figure are gonna link up back to the represented text. It's gonna look, if I do it this way, it's gonna look more like some sort of octopus type being that keeps that's is separated like in a different dimension. That's how I'm imagining the columns. You can imagine some sort of uh, place where all the information is an outreach towards the text, and in a way it's just all graphing back to this bigger concept. Or I can just go this part, but it's gonna look more like the text is referring back to this. But in a way I don't want to do that because it looks less cool. It looks much less cool. But when I change these colors red, uh maybe I can make the graph itself red, and boom. And it looks awesome, bro. This is what I was drawing up in the airport. I used half of the time to draw up what I thought or what I wanted it to look like, because I wanted to make it look like I was actually doing something at the airport. Uh, I wasn't really doing much at the airport. If you include this, I wasn't doing much, to be honest. I was just trying to make it look like I'm doing something productive. Even if it I had just I didn't even have a proper pencil. But anyways, yeah, this is gonna be, I think it's gonna be a stellar idea. But I think to make it more universal, like um more reputable, because if the outreaches are going to be like this, let's say another text mentions the form, I can just keep on doing this just for the sake of example. Let's say all these texts refer the figure 1.1 in some way or another. uh I don't want to, of course, this is just an example. None of these texts above refers figure 1.1, because figure 1.1 is about phonemes and such and such. Of course, in a way, these texts refer back to phonemes, but it's not to say they directly refer back. I wanted to add text or things that specifically mentions figure 1.1, or makes you have in mind what figure 1.1 is. So what I'm trying to gonna do with this thing is to say it's like cobwebs, but in this sense it's a bit too messy because um, the lines are too uh harsh in color, so you're gonna see it throughout. It's gonna look way too messy. It kind of ruin all the aesthetics beforehand, if not done properly. So I'm just gonna remove this. Da-da-da-da-da. Of course, I want the lines to be like something more like this, and maybe even a bit more opaque, so it's less noticeable. But what I really want to know is, if I go to one of these boxes, let's go to here. If I click this line, will it bring me back? Will it bring me back? I don't know. That's the problem. Follow connection. Boom! It works. Oh, it works. That looks awesome. That looks awesome. That looks awesome. Oh, so I'm gonna stop messing with stuff. I don't know. I'm probably gonna fix these up. Uh, Honestly, this is pretty good. I don't know if I want to go too deep, because I'm only 2 pages, 4 pages inside the book. If you cut out the contents page, I'm really only 1 to 2 pages. This might be a greater endeavor than I really want to go through with, but at the end of the day, if I can finish this book maybe in 2 weeks, a month, or yeah, a month. I ideally I'm looking for a month. I know I might procrastinate, waste some time, but if I can finish this in about a month, I'm gonna have a whole book like laid down from page one, page two, page three, chapter four, chapter five, chapter six, and it's gonna look all like something crazily good. Hmm. Hmm. Uh, mm, I was thinking of downsizing this, but I like the big size of the graphs, because the big size of the graphs makes it more ominous, more, more like, oh, this is the original information, where one independent factor is not really independent; it's dependent on this factor. And if you go down the line, this is gonna be the like the perfect form, like some sort of Aristotelian concept. I don't know. I'm just talking. I just take these. Maybe if I lengthen it, it's gonna. Oh my god, this is gonna be the problem. It looks very nerdy. It looks very nerdy. It looks like a slingshot. Um, Aside from this, I think I'm gonna read a manga. Then I'm gonna take on the book. After I take on the book, I'm just gonna read through some of the book. I don't know, and then see if I can finish up as much as I can. The point of lengthening that is to lengthen this actually. Pull this down to where this is. Pull this down to where this is. They're gonna align like that. I'm sure the book contains a lot of information and different graphs. I probably need to pull it down a little bit more. I'm sure I don't know how far I should really just read through the thing right now because I don't want to confuse myself. If I confuse myself, then I just might have made it harder. But yeah, this is gonna be the concept. It's like if you turn it on the side, if you just turn it on the side, it looks like a submarine. And that's awesome. I think Obsidian was the best app I downloaded. It really is one of the most helpful things. If I was a trillionaire, I'd probably give them over like a $20 billion just to say thank you. But I'm just glazing them because I don't know. I'll read the book right now. I should have it downloaded or saved somewhere. I see. There you go. Okay. But I don't like copy. Okay, no, it's fine. Okay. So we read through this part. Yeah. So we went through the SVR view. The SVR view, I'm going to try to recall the best of my abilities. A simple view of reading. I don't remember who wrote it. I just know that, like it's explaining right here, it's going to be the explanatory power. Oh. So, teaching decoding, what can go wrong? In this part, it presents two scenarios whereby you have this part where they're obviously mispronouncing the first letters of the alphabets and also dragging it. Eh. They're dragging it too much. And then in the second part, without even looking, I'm going to just recall it. There's a next scenario whereby the teacher is reading through this book, but the author notes that before you can read through this book, you need to make sure the kids can pronounce or whatever the 30 words, decode the 30 words at the back of the book. And the point of the scenario is to say, what does this imply to the child who can decode or maybe who can't decode? And the point is that it's already a struggle to decode one word. If you overwhelm them with 30 words, it might just tell them implicitly that maybe you're not good enough, even if you try your best, and maybe even if you grasp the concept of decoding. You can look right here. Scenario 2, now imagine a year 1 class where the class looks forward to reading a new decodable book. But before doing so, the publisher's teacher handbook requires that children need to read correctly a list of 30 isolated words at the front of the book. The time one child takes to read of the word, some 15 minutes, raises the question of whether this is the most practical way for children to practice their decoding skills. What message are we sending to these beginners? Decodable books certainly can help children put their phonics knowledge into practice, but having to face a list of 30 words that are hard to decode seems to send some students the message that they are failures. That's what I was getting at when I first mentioned it and tried to recall it. I think I recalled it decently well. I kind of pat myself on the back for that type of recalling, because sometimes you don't remember what you read. But I think because I might be glazing my graph too much, but because of how I was looking through the information, was making sure that it was able to be placed in an aesthetic or well made manner, that the graph itself helped as an anchor to all the information. Though I forget sometimes the explanatory power behind the SVR view. But aside from that, I think this is good. Should the teacher select a decodable book that fits better with the class current decoding skills? Perhaps try a different approach, like reading the book first, and then after reading the book, review the list of words with the class. To the outside observer, in cases like this, the designer of early literacy programmers are not taking into account that the task is too hard. The other problem is also going to be, you're going to have some kids who are good at decoding. Like the book said, you only really need to teach them 5 to 18 hours of decoding, no more than that. So, assumingly that some kids are not going to grasp the concept too quickly, and you want to move on to an activity whereby you're reading this book out of loud, post reading this book to be specific, and you're trying to turn this into some sort of lesson, and some children won't know or will forget the concept, and it would seem to them that they're being left out. And because they're being left out, at least to them, they go up and find whatever uh, devilish things they can do, grasp onto, find themselves partnering up with a buddy in crime because both of them don't understand the concept, and you are left managing those two whilst you're trying to manage this the part of the lesson you want to teach the kids who actually do know. And you don't want to go back to the task over and over to just make them feel more included. But I think I don't really have a solution. Maybe you have to work with two people, another person who can present the program, and another EA or whatever it is can help the ones who are falling a bit or lagging a bit behind with those skills. But it's a hard job to do, depending on the resilient skills of those children who are not doing so well. And it's most often those children who don't do so well who lack resilient skills. And when you talk to them, they don't know how to control themselves. They don't know how to self regulate. They get upset, and then it's a whole scenario about them, and then everything is getting derailed. You don't know what to do. It feels like you're always a failure, and you don't understand how to manage the situation because your skills in class management are not that great, because you keep on telling yourself, blah, 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 I'm going too much. Okay, if we see that some children are not learning, it is a signal to slow it down, slow the ship down, and simplify the task, to restructure the lesson. On the one hand, these scenarios and the problems they describe can make the task of teaching decoding feel overwhelming. On the other hand, it's actually a good thing. It shows that teaching is not about blindly following the programming given. In the above scenario, the knowledgeable teacher can see children are struggling and will think outside the square to solve the issue. Sometimes slowing down, keeping it simple, and using a step by step teaching approach, slow and steady, will make a huge positive difference to their progress. I agree. I most certainly agree. It's hard to deny this type of information, and it's best listened to or heard uh, with as much vigilance before you start. And I'm in the process of in that simple stage that is before you start, before the slingshot is pulled. All right, 1.4. This is where we're at. In our graph, we ended at those scenarios. We found the good parts of what makes these scenarios might be better is that on the one hand, like it said, it shows that it can be overwhelming. On the other hand, to restate what was already said again, it can also just be that it's a sign that things just need to slow down. So we ended there. So the next part is going to be phonemic awareness. But why I settled to bring phonemic awareness below here? Because it said in quite literally the first lines, and it's a prerequisite. And what I get from what a prerequisite is going to be, a prerequisite, right, is going to be something before decoding. And if it's before decoding, I'm sorry, but I think I want to arrange this graph in a way that's going to be understandable. But at the end of the day, I don't know what I'm going to do. There's only 200 pages in the book. So it's okay. So we can finish that off. Okay, 13. There's the graph. Oh, there's the graph. Phonemic on the roadblock in learning decoding. This is where it gets a bit complicated, to be honest. I'm not going to make the sounds. I'll make them once in a while, but I don't think nobody's obligated to make these darn sounds. Okay? Well, okay, I won't make these sounds no matter what. Because it just cringes me in the afterplay where I have to, like, sorry, the post video where I have to look through some of it. I'm like, ugh. And I sometimes mess up the sounds myself. If they do not know, for example, the first sound of sun is S. See, I said it. It will be hard for them to understand the teacher means. What the teacher means when they say that the letter S has the S sound. What? If they do not know, for example, that the first sound in sun is S, it will be hard for them to understand what the teacher means when they say the letter S has S sound. I think what they're alluding to is identifying certain sounds within words. So sometimes you're told, like, to identify a sound, to slow it down is a dragophonium. No, that's a terrible thing. Not dragophonium, but uh, stretch it. Some phonemes are stretchable, like the letter S and letter L. Yeah, you can go on as long as you can keep your breath up, until your breath goes away, you can then stop. But so hypothetically, if you had some sort of machine that had given you a bigger lungs, you could go on and go on and on, maybe till till the sun explodes and the world's over, and you're still have these letters you can still go on with. That doesn't make sense because maybe in the future we stop using English and maybe we'll just use one general language to sum up everything in the world. But I mean, that would just mean or show some sort of decline in individuality throughout time. Well, that doesn't really matter. Well, I just skip to the end of the book. I mean, if I'm already a bit through, I guess, okay, I guess it's just understanding basic stuff. Phonemic awareness. Okay. There is much evidence to show that phonemic awareness. Oops. There's much evidence to show that phonemic awareness helps learning, helps learning to decode words. First, phonemic awareness predicts decoding progress. Oh, I have an idea. Is there a way that I can't type on this? I'm gonna go back to this. I'm gonna pull this from underneath. I just had an idea. Explanatory power of D. Wait, no, no, no. 4D. So, wait. I'm having fun. So, you know how R equal the SVR view has its own explanatory power that predicts uh, the offsets of, let's say, if a child maybe has doesn't know how to decode, it's unlikely, even though they have high language skill or LC, that they're going to be able to read either way, vice versa. Maybe letter D of the equation has its own explanatory power. That's going to be crazy. You know, at some point, in some arguments, in arguments, let me find where that box is. Some arguments you have P1, P2, sorry, P3, P4, blah blah blah, or or you have some hieroglyphics formula like like where it's like it's basically a way of explaining stuff, but it's crazy how it looks at the end of the day. It's like an equation basically. X4 X5 can a W X this. It makes it look super complicated and a bit smart, might I say. So maybe we're gonna reach that point. At the end of the book, we're gonna just start speaking hydro like this start speaking random forms of English, I guess. Like no. Like have random no. There's gonna be just an equation for how to teach reading. At the end of this, it's gonna like someone asks, so how do you teach reading? And you just say, okay, so D's gonna have an explanatory power of X. So just hear me out. A DXY equals a power of 0, but 0x1 equals 0. So we have to take away the 0 and we'll get an upwards count from 1 to 2. After we get an upwards count to 1 to 2, we're going to then go into R equals D, and DXLC is going to equal a utility number that's going to be above 0. And if the utility number is going to be above 0, then there's progress, right? Are you with me? I don't know. Uh, it's a bit cringe, to be honest. Nah, that's really cringe. If someone just asking for information, and the first thing you do is beat them down with big, long stuff. Okay. Second, there's much evidence to hacker reviews online. Okay, there is much evidence to show that phonemic awareness helps learning decode words. Oh, they said helps. They didn't specify precursor. Uh, First, phonemic awareness predicts decoding process. This is a clear. It goes away from associated with causation. That's what I like. I wish I could highlight stuff. Okay, if you have phonemic awareness, it's easier to learn to read. Second, most children with severe reading difficulties lack phonemic awareness. It will be hard for them to read the word dog if they are unaware that dog has 3 letters, uh, i.e., phonemes. DOG. Third, studies have found that if we teach phonemic awareness, then it helps children with decoding words. This is especially the case if we teach phonemic awareness at the same time as teaching 26 letters of the alphabet. Oh, wait. Oh my god, that's really good. Wait. Third, studies have shown that if we teach phonemic awareness, then it helps children with decoding words. What am I talking about? Oh, direct studies. So it's no longer like a association thing. So when they use the word help here, it confuses me a bit. But when they did said predict, it like, oh, my radar went off. But when it said studies have found that phonic awareness helps, like, okay, okay. But I'm confused why they keep on saying help. Do they mean so? By if they're gonna say help, it also probably means that um, there's some other thing that's needed aside from phonemic awareness. I guess. This is especially the case if we teach phonemic awareness at the same time as teaching the 26 letters of the alphabet. So I guess they're trying to say is that instead of just teaching the the written form of the alphabets, it might be a plus to also teach the sounds. I don't see, well, that wouldn't that lead to cognitive overload? But I get what they're saying because maybe you're doing it word of the day stuff like that. Sorry, letter of the day, and you want to also add sound of the letter of the day. And after you add the sound of the letter of the day, slowly you're gonna get them to learn these stuff. I mean, of course, you're gonna follow some sort of guide. You're not gonna just do A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P. That's gonna be dumb. I don't suggest no one does that. But how would that fit inside different stuff? I don't know. Some books say SATPIN. Some books say STPI. Some books say IDIINIMD. Some books say GCOKE. And I don't know. I think that's gonna be the best structure. At least for me, because I don't really. That seems to be the most systematic way of teaching the alphabet. So I guess what you're saying is you shouldn't really just teach the alphabet on its own in letter form. You probably need to introduce sounds as well. This is gonna increase this is gonna help their phonemic awareness skills and help it help them. I don't know. It's gonna help them read better. I'm just gonna sum it up like that. Writing, very simple, is speech written down. In English, speech is written as a series of letter sounds. We write dog as DOG. It seems obvious to an adult who can decode, but many young children, when they start school, do not understand this. They may think sandwich starts with SAN, and not S. And that biscuit starts with BIS and not B. They will not know the first sound in their name. I've also heard some say that you teach the sounds in a child's name before any other. Like that's the way to arrange it. I've seen this endorsed throughout a lot of books. I don't know if there's some kid with a name like Exiliograph, where it's like every single hard letter that takes time to actually learn is in their name, then I don't know. Like I don't see anyone address that. I don't. I'm certainly not gonna address that. Uh, it's like you have to teach. Wait, like it's like, do I have to teach every single kid a different letter because their name starts with a different letter and there's different letters inside their name than other letters in other people's name? Like if you're giving out worksheets, it's gonna have to be grafted towards them specifically because they're gonna learn specific letters. And if they're learning just the letters inside of their name, are you only teaching them how to write their name? Or you just want to teach them, are you really want to teach them how to write down stuff in general, like sad cat bat, the basic stuff? If you teach them in a systematic order of SATPIN, then you're gonna get them to write stories and stuff, like sentences. But if you just teach them letters inside their name, uh you're not really gonna get them to write any stories or anything. That's just my thinking right there. That doesn't mean what I'm saying is gonna be true, because obviously there's gonna be smarter people out there who know more than me. So I'm not gonna just make that assumption. I'm just saying what I think. I don't think it's a good idea unless Well, I don't know. Unless you're just wanting to write their name, which is an accomplishment in of itself, because they can go home, they can say their name, they can write it down. It's like a big push forward, and they have some. They've heard their name a lot. I guess I don't know. Oh my god, they know that. Back to the text. They know that words mean something, but they do not know that words are made of phonemes. Example, we ask some 5-year-old children questions about what are two sounds in no. One child said, "No, thank you." We said, "What are the two sounds in up?" Another said, "Go up." We asked, "What word is n?" Well, what am I doing? Nice. Another said, "You're nice." What exactly is phonemic awareness? Is it a part of a more general awareness of speech called phonological awareness, as shown in Figure 1? So, if I was written this down, this is knowledgeable of the structure of words at the wider level. It is known that rabbit is a word, and in addition, it is knowing that rabbit has two syllables, rab, and bin. A syllable is a unit of speech containing a vowel and any consonants preceding or following that vowel. It is also knowing that a syllable can break into parts, onset and rhyme, and the consonant before and the vowel make up the onset of the syllable. So this is where you're gonna get complicated, to be honest. The vowel and the onset rhyme structure. So we can break the first syllable, rab, in rabbit into its onset, r, and rhyme up. So I guess they could, okay, I get it now. And we can break the second syllable, bit, into b and it. So b is going to be onset, it's going to be the rhyme. Simple. We can then break the onset and the rhyme into phonemes, RAB and BIT. A phoneme is the smallest unit of sound and conveys a distinction in meaning. A student who has phonemic awareness has the insight that spoken words are made up of a sequence of separable sounds and the ability to manipulate sounds in words. In the English language, there are 44 phonemes with slight variance depending on dialect. The 26 letters of the alphabet represent these 44 phonemes. Since there are more phonemes than letters, each phoneme can be represented by a single letter. Example, B, or I don't know, B, or by a combination of letters, CH, O, W. Letters of the phonological alphabetical levels of phonological awareness. Word, syllable, onset, rhyme, phone, anything you can find. Get it here, get it now. This is everything you love. Figure 1, the levels of phonological awareness, word, syllable, onset, rhyme, and phoneme. Teaching phonemic awareness to young children does not need to take much class time during the school year. Suggested OLED 2001 suggested between 5 and 18 hours total and no more. Unwittingly, some programmers go beyond the suggested time, 30 to 40. What should do teacher do? The important time is to check is that class has this awareness when they are learning to read. If they have it, see, then you have done your job. No need to continue teaching it. The story of English. I don't know if I want to read through this. To save time, I might just skip past it and just skim. You'll need to learn these RX. Later, I was like, did you know that more than 90% of the words in Shakespeare play are from Anglo-Saxon layer? I have no idea. Anglo-Saxon language are basically consonant vowel. CVSC word structure with many pieces with French, Asian and more. Longer words came from Russian. Many Latin words came with the arrival of missionaries by 400. Da-da, they printed anything. Complex words came with the language, and it was in the age of science. Newton, Bacon, the age of literacy, Anglo-Saxon words. These are everyday words. The upper half of the table, consonants, two consonants, usually lower half table, wall-sided, long words. That's a lot of stuff. I think I might just need to read through all of that. But I'm just gonna go to this, the more practical stuff, the stuff of what I want. Okay, I'm probably have to screenshot this too. Okay, research on the best way to teach decoding. The science of reading supports a structured approach to teaching decoding. Meta-analyst research, where the result of many studies are average to find a general pattern of effectiveness, have found that on average, when you look at the effect of a large number of studies, that systematic and structured teaching of decoding, especially using phonics, is more efficient than other approaches. National Reading Panel, NICHD. An influential example of success of structured teaching using a decoding approach was a study in, I'm not going to pronounce that word, in Scotland that taught phonics to a large group of 5-year-olds. The study found that after 10 weeks of structured and synthetic phonics, the group who received this instruction were reading ahead of their chronological age compared with a control group who did not get this teaching. When reassessed at 12, the phonics children were still reading words well ahead of their chronological age and comprehending what they read. One feature of the study was that teachers taught the 26 letter sounds more quickly than the control group. Hmm. I'm going to pump that into AI because I don't want to think about that. I want to wonder what they mean by that. So I'm just going to pump this into AI just to get an understanding. Because I don't understand what they mean by the control group were taught the 26 letters of the alphabet quickly. I wonder what that means. All right, ChatGPT 5 thinking. What do they mean by quickly? What's the implications? Meta-analyst has broken your heart around. Okay. Implications. It's trying its best. It's taking its time. It's taking its toll. 2:58 a.m. on a Sunday. So, okay. I love that I can just pump stuff into ChatGPT and not think at all. What? No, listen, I'm not against technology. Use what you can. Frankly, the only people who discourage using AI are probably people who already, like, they be thinking better than you and me and everyone else. They be the people who already be doing this stuff. So why not take what you can as a brokey and do what you can with it? That's my whole goal, man. Okay, gonna make GPT. You know how lazy I'm gonna be? I'm not gonna even read it. I'm gonna let GPT read it for me. Now, isn't this privileged? Read it off. Wait, where's the voice button? There you go.
Short answer.
Yo, read it. What? Yo.
Short answer. Quickly means teaching one new letter sound every school day. Port 5 per week.
Did it just stop? Like, I don't pay money each year to get a port. Terrible.
Short answer. Quickly means teaching one new letter sound every school day, Port 5 per week, instead of one per week. The key implication is fast code coverage. Kids know enough sounds sooner to start real blending and reading. Here's what that buys you. 5 to 6 versus 26 weeks. You finish the basic 26 letter sounds in about a month and a bit, not most of the year. Earlier blending equals earlier reading. With even 5 to 6 sounds, e.g. SATPIN, students can decode dozens of CVC words, so practice becomes meaningful fast. More successful reps. Daily new sound cumulative review turbocharges retrieval and orthographic mapping. They store spellings in long-term memory. Motivation and behavior gains. Reading real words within days reduces guessing and keeps attention up. Important nuance. Quickly is about
Oh my god, bro. I paused it. I don't want to listen to that again.
Short answer. Quickly. Short answer. Short answer. Short answer.
Short answer.
Quickly
Oh my
means
God.
teaching one new letter sound every school day, Port 5 per week, instead of one per week. The key implication is fast code coverage. Kids know enough sounds sooner to start real blending and reading. Here's what that buys you. 5 to 6 versus 26 weeks. You finish the basic 26 letter sounds in about a month and a bit, not most of the year. Earlier blending equals earlier reading. With even 5 to 6 sounds, e.g. SATPIN, students can decode dozens of CVC words, so practice becomes meaningful fast. More successful reps. Daily new sound cumulative review turbocharges retrieval and orthographic mapping. They store spellings in long-term memory. Motivation and behavior gains. Reading real words within days reduces guessing and keeps attention up. Important nuance. Quickly is about pace of introduction, not rushing instruction. You still do daily review, blending, encoding, spelling, handwriting, articulation. You just don't wait a week for each sound. Don't halt the whole class if a few haven't mastered yesterday's sound. Keep the daily pace, then use short keep-up small groups for extra practice. A simple classroom routine, 20 to 30 min core plus 10-15 min practice. 1. Teach the new sound, 3 to 5 min. Mouth shape, keyword, letter formation. 2. Cumulative review, 3 to 5 min. Flash, retrieve 8 to 12 known sounds. 3. Blending, 5 to 10 min. Build read words using today's and prior sounds. 4. Encoding, 5 to 10 min. Tap and spell 3 to 5 words, 1 quick sentence. 5.
I didn't
Exit
even
check,
ask
1
for a
min.
whole
Can they name the
lesson,
sound quickly and use it in a word? Pacing plan you can start Monday. Week 1 to 5-6, 1 new letter sound per day. Common order like SATPIMDGOCERBHLJWZXUQQQ with daily cumulative review. Weeks after basic code, revisit tricky sounds, add digraphs. Sh, eng, ck, extend blending to 4-sound words, and increase decodable text time. Bottom line, quickly equals daily new sounds, so students hit reading liftoff early, while you protect mastery with constant review and targeted small group support.
Booyah. I guess that's really good. So it's about introduction or pace in the introduction of letters. The GPT suggested that SATPIN and the following. I think it's really good. Yeah, it's really good. I'll keep on going. We'll see. The speed in learning may have propelled the phonics children forwards. The result of that study influenced a change of policy in England towards teaching synthetic phonics and led to the implication of new reading curricula called Letter and Sounds. 1.8. Why some children learn to read while others fail. Despite years of academic training, many pre-service teachers feel unprepared to teach decoding skills to children, especially phonics. Possibly because lectures discussing essentially decoding skills get very little academic coverage. The students who learn in their training They need to teach decoding, but they may not learn how to teach these essential decoding skills, such as phonological knowledge, seem to help teachers self belief and self agency for teaching decoding skills. Without decoding skills, many children will fail to read. There are other options to read words besides decoding, but these options will not end well. One option for beginners is to memorize words by their look, but this is not a good way to go. There are too many words to memorize. They can perhaps memorize 30 or 40 words. There are too many words that will look the same. This may be why some, but this may be why many beginners confuse words like dad, sad, I, is, we, went, dog, girl. All these words have some visual similarity. Another option is to use context clues and pictures in text reading to work out words. But this seems also wrong way to go. Context can help. So they're just talking about scaffolds, and surely does sometimes. Yet context is a failed false friend, a false prophet. Uh, Context helps the child with predictable words, but less, if at all, with unpredictable words. Context helps the child where she needs it least and let her down when she needs it the most. No, I'll go again. Context helps the child where she needs it least and let her down when she needs it most. Oh, it's cinematic. That sounds awesome. Why are we getting emotional on our reading? In terms terms of decoding words, context can help with function words like the, but not with content words that carry the main meaning of the text. Sophisticated guessing of words is not what skill readers do. Skill readers do not need to guess. They simply decode the words. Only beginners and older unskilled readers have to rely on context to guess words. To teach children to guess words with context clues rather than sound them out may work for some, but for many children, it will not end well. The aim of this and the next chapter is to give the teacher effective methods to teach decoding, one that will work, that will enable all children to decode words with success. Conclusion. Well, that was a quick introduction to decoding. What is it? What it is? Decoding skill is essential for reading success. Students need systematic instruction to learn the skills. They need to follow a structured approach with a clear scope and sequence, as described in the next chapters. Success in reading in the early grades is all about learning the more fun. Oh my God, not this big word. Oh my God. Oh my God, let me do some decoding right here. Let me do some decoding. So this is gonna be more, more. This is gonna be morphophonemic. Oh, I got it on the first try. Don't even check me. Morphophonemic nature of Anglo-Saxon writing system, that words follow certain morphemic and letter sound rules. It is also worth spending some time teaching young children to decode words well. You are teaching a critical skill to learn to read. Boom. Assessing decoding. Introductions. Teachers have good intuitions about children decoding levels, but sometimes it's hard to explain why students are at that level or what to do about it. It is one thing to diagnose a problem and another to resolve it. Assessment helps teachers to understand where the children are in their decoding skills. Using formal and informal measures is like bringing in an outside expert to see what's happening. It is more objective, it gives insight as to what next action to take. Intuitions are valuable. There are many times where the teacher has to act intuitively. I mispronounced that intuitively. To make quick decisions. On the other hand, backing up intuition with objective data is important. Sometimes students seem to be doing fine, but they unwittingly mask their difficulties, and we do not see that they are struggling to learn. It is not clear yet they are in fact way behind their classmates. Teachers think they are progressing, but they are not. Informal observations in the classroom can give insight as to where they are struggling and why. Only by assessing children's progress can the teacher gain a more complete picture as to why and what of their decoding journey. This chapter will cover the following topics: standardized assessment, informal assessment, alphabetic knowledge, uh, phonemic awareness, informal assessment, basic decoding skills, a case study assessment example. I'm going to read this for the last part and end it there. Standardized assessment. There are a number of standardized measures of real and non word reading available on the internet and from publishers. A stumbling block for teachers is that very often the published measures are not accessible in the classroom because specialist training and assessment is required for pages. Okay, end it off there. It's not that I'm tired. It's that I'm just gonna end it there for convenience sake to catch up next time.